Rich Eisen. On demand.
Your show, your schedule.
I only caught the last 15 minutes of the show, so I'm going to have to go home on RichEisen.com and check out the rest.
Download podcasts at RichEisenShow.com.
March Madness is still here. Did your bracket bust? Don't worry, go to BetDSI.com where you can watch all the madness and even bet all the games until the final whistle. BetDSI has the fastest payout in the industry. Simply play, win, and get paid. Try live betting at BetDSI where you could bet on the games from start to finish. That's every play and every minute down to the last whistle. So what are you waiting for? Go to BetDSI.com and use promo code DRMadness. New members get a 100% bonus match. So are you ready for some extra cash this March? Remember, it's only a game until you bet it at BetDSI.
All right, everybody, welcome to this Wednesday edition of the Rich Eisen Show. Last Wednesday in March. Man, where has the time gone?
Well, you were in Italy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, we were here.
We were here.
I was there. I don't know if you saw on my Instagram account. I got some great pictures of my vacation.
Should have brought food.
You did
back,
a great
Rich.
job. You did a great job.
I didn't expect to begin the show
Sorry.
by talking about
That's
that.
my fault.
I mean,
it's my fault. Sorry.
After further review,
Hey. Can I challenge that?
Yeah, can we
well,
challenge?
you did challenge. You muted my Instagram feed for 24 hours.
Well,
what the hell?
I think New York ruled in my favor.
I don't think so. At any rate, hey, everybody, we're back here on the Rich Eisen Show, brlive.com. Our new friends is how you can watch us every single day. Had some friends of mine who went. Now, look, brlive.com is where you can watch us every single day.
My mom is so happy about that.
Mine. Well, my folks have been watching on the DirecTV Now app for a while as well. But a buddy of mine watched our show last night by going to the BR Live app on Apple TV. I mean, it's amazing how these things work.
We're everywhere.
Okay, we're everywhere. You can't miss us, and don't you dare mute me for 24 hours. All right,
it was more like 12.
Okay, Brock. I said it after the NFC Championship game. At least I'm a consistent fella. Said it after the NFC Championship game. Said it all throughout, and I said it yesterday. I said the league had to do what it did, and they did it. And I say to them, well done, well done. Passing this instant replay maneuver, which will forevermore make sure what happened at the NFC Championship game won't happen again. And yes, the Saints had every opportunity to win that game. They got the ball first in overtime. I understand all of that. But what happened in that game was so awful. It was terrible. Saints fans are still pissed. They'll be pissed forever. It is not what the league should be talking about. It is not the sort of thing, hey, spell my name right, at least you're talking about us type moment. The offensive non-call, and that is the way to call it. It offended many. The fact that it happened, and I understand the refs should get it right. Just be better, be best. Isn't that what they're saying these days?
Be best.
Okay, hashtag. Be better at your job. I understand. There's still human error. It's always going to happen. And I know we are never going to go back to the days of just umps are going to call it, refs are going to call it, whatever your sport. And Dave Roberts, the manager of the Dodgers, is going to be first up in a few minutes' time. As, by the way, opening day for most of Major League Baseball. It's tomorrow. We'll never go back to just humans are going to call it, and what we're seeing on television in replay won't be used to fill in the gaps, make sure errors aren't. It's just never going to happen again. You might as well use it to the best of your ability. And now what the league passed yesterday for 1 year, we'll see how it goes, because there's going to be unintended consequences, and we'll review that to the best of my ability in a second. But for 1 year, this year, and I assume it's going to work out fine, and whatever isn't worked out will be fine-tuned. But I do believe forevermore, offensive and defensive pass interference calls will be challenged, and ones that aren't made will be challenged as well, meaning whatever happened at the NFC Championship games and last year will never happen again. And that is what the league should have done, to look the fans in the eyes in New Orleans saying, we hear you, to look to the fans anywhere that might be legally wagering hard-earned American dollars on that. We hear you. We don't want anybody to sit here and think that we're employing referees that aren't on the up and up. We hear you. We got it. Stephen Jones, who's on the competition committee from the front office of the Dallas Cowboys, we had him on just right after the NFC Championship game, right? We called him up. We had it on when they were talking about that
5-6 weeks ago,
right?
yeah.
And it didn't seem like they were going to do anything.
It did not.
John Elway was talking about, let's not overreact here. You might think this is an overreaction. It's not. It's not. It's not. Now, I hear you. This wouldn't have happened had what happened at the NFC Championship game not occurred. So I understand that. Now, that said, you can't sit here and say it's going to make the game longer because it's the same number of challenges. If this happens at the end of the first quarter, early second, you're going to use a replay flag there? Maybe, if it's as blatant as that. But if it's not?
I'd say if you're on your side of the field, you're going to.
How about this? You've already gotten a challenge wrong.
I think you got to save it.
So there's that.
That's a huge element for me.
Exactly.
The staying with the two challenges.
Exactly. Yeah. And also this, when all the replay stuff started, and I'll keep repeating myself, the first NFL owners meeting we covered at the NFL Network, replay's permanence was at stake. And it was either make it permanent or we're not going to have it at all. There was no gray area. They weren't going to 1 year at a time it anymore. Replay was on life support or going to be made immortal. Interestingly enough, the only team to vote against it that day was the same team that voted against this rule yesterday. Mike Brown of the Cincinnati Bengals. Al Davis abstained because that's what he always did, sitting at the very end of the table. So that day, though, part of the conversation against replay came from a lot of coaches. A lot of coaches thought my job's tough enough as it is, and I'm not seeing the replay. I have to depend on somebody else in a booth upstairs who's seeing the replay, or I have to depend on the eyes and ears of a player on the field telling me to challenge. I've got enough on my plate. I don't want this responsibility. I shouldn't have this responsibility. Others are like, I want this responsibility. I don't want some unnamed Sky official or Sky judge, as they're being termed these days. I know that's in the AAF too. Yeah. But they don't want some unnamed official. If you remember, the replay official used to be in the stadium, and they used to have all sorts of jobs throughout the week that had nothing to do with officiating. So it's interesting to me that all the coaches are now all in on this, and Sean Payton being the one to lead the charge, getting a little apparently celebratory butt slap from Mike Tomlin yesterday because, as Payton pointed out, a pass interference call against the Steelers cost them in that crucial Saints-Steelers classic this year that eventually cost the Steelers a playoff spot. So it's not just Payton the aggrieved party. And I find it fascinating, again, that the coaches are now all in on this, and that this might be the first instance of them using their power in the room, all the owners saying how passionate the coaches were on this, led to 31 teams saying yes to this rule proposal. It's being pointed out by many that this is just going to be the beginning of expanding instant replay.
Yeah, I saw Bill Belichick and Andy Reid were two of the coaches that extended the meeting more than 2 hours so they could hammer this out.
So the hammering out part of it I want to know, because the language that I'm seeing everywhere is just an addendum at the end of the rules proposal that was handed out, I guess all the rules that were passed. And here it is. For 1 year only, expands the reviewable plays in instant replay to include pass interference called or not called on the field. Also expands automatic replay reviews to include scoring plays and turnovers negated by a foul. How about that? And any try attempt, extra point or 2-point conversion. What's not in here is just my one concern, is what happens in the last 2 minutes of the game. That's the unintended consequence I'm concerned about. I want to make sure that the end of an NFL half and game doesn't turn into a college basketball where we're stopping every 2 seconds when coaches are calling timeouts to talk things over, or an NBA game where we're reviewing stuff that you're not ordinarily allowed to review throughout a game. At least this is going to be consistent. The same way that you review something in the beginning of a game at the end of a half is just going to be challenged by the home office in New York. And there's no language in here to talk about what constitutes a buzzing in. Is it just anything? Is it something egregious that needs to be fixed like the end of the NFC Championship game? Interestingly enough, what the competition committee came out and said yesterday is that the Brandon Cooks play at the 4-minute mark of the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl that I pointed out the very next day to me looked like pass interference with Stephon Gilmore beaten on the play, trying to get back at Cooks, who's past him, reaching in and grabbed Cooks' hand. You know, Cooks couldn't put two hands on the ball. He grabbed one of the arms, but you couldn't see it in real time in many ways because another Patriot came in from the safety position and created a bang-bang moment. And the Brandon Cooks play, according to the competition committee, under these rules, that Sean McVay could have challenged that and would have won the challenge. And the Rams would have gotten the ball on the 1-yard line and would have tied that game at 10 apiece, most likely.
Yeah, because the next play was an interception.
I'm telling you, man, this was pass interference. He grabs him by the arm. And it wasn't called. So, you as fans out there, do you want this sort of stuff called, or you just want to just be like, this is the last moment where these things are just going to be, can't review it, it's a judgment call. That's going to get rectified.
McVay would have had to have challenged that,
correct, because it was outside the last 2 minutes.
Right.
But inside the last 2 minutes, that would get buzzed down. You ready for that? I am. I'll tell you that.
You're not concerned about
Here's my concern.
Lengthening the game at all?
No, I'm not concerned about lengthening the game because we're not expanding the universe of challenges. I'm concerned about expanding the length of the last 2 minutes. I'm concerned about that.
Reviewing every single play, essentially.
Well, it's not every single play that you're reviewing.
Possibly.
So not every play that's in the last 2 minutes is a pass play. Not every pass play is something that involves pass interference. Not every single one of them. And the one, though, that I'm concerned about, because if you notice, defensive holding is not in this. It's got to be where the ball is heading. Ball's got to be in the air.
I like that.
Well, I know that, but here's the unintended consequence. You ready for this?
Okay.
Get ready for it. Pass play happens, no flag on the play. Booth buzzes down.
Yep.
They missed defensive holding. Let's take a look at it. Well, we can't review defensive holding, but you can review if it's pass interference that's missed. Is the ball in the air? You take a look at where the hold takes place. Is the ball still in the quarterback's hand? That's what defensive holding is. Ball in the air, that's pass interference. That should be called. That's the unintended consequence here.
But they can't call defensive holding after the fact.
No. So they'll just say, we wanted to look at it. We wanted to see, was the ball in the air? Because that would have been pass interference. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
They couldn't review the play and make a defensive holding call because that's not in here. But they can review something that looks like it could be pass interference that wasn't called. But after further review, it's just defensive holding. And guess what? We can't overturn that on replay. And that's 2 minutes. It takes 2 minutes to look at that.
I wonder what the referees union thinks of this.
Well, we're going to get Dean Blandino on the phone as a guy who has been in the position of having to review stuff in the last 2 minutes and buzz down. I'm wondering what he thinks of this and what will constitute Al Riveron's crew at the Art McNally Replay Center as a buzzable, let's extend the last 2 minutes here moment.
Like any pass play close down the sideline, they're going to look at?
I don't know because the word egregious isn't in here.
Well, good thing Gronk retired because he got held and interfered with on every play.
Well, I'll tell you, man. These things this is the unintended consequence that might be coming. Yeah. And again, I'm still of the belief that that's fine, the unintended consequence, as long as we never see the NFC Championship game ever again. So Dean Blandino is going to join us in hour number 2 to discuss all of this, trying to make heads or tails as well about What's the deal with reviewing scoring plays and turnovers negated by a foul? What does that mean? Want to get this from Dean. That's again at top of hour number 2. Make you smarter about all this. And then Billy Corbin has it's a smart, funny, shocking documentary called Screwball about the biogenesis scandal that cost Alex Rodriguez a full year of play. Manny Ramirez and Melky Cabrera and so many others, Ryan Braun and other players were getting steroids from Tony Bosch down in Miami, Florida. I mean, what a crazy story. And his documentary, the way he tells it, former 30 for 30 director of the U and others, great documentarian. Billy Corbin's going to be here in hour 3. That conversation is going to be nuts. Dave Roberts, Dodger manager, coming up. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. What do you think of the instant replay rule? Do you agree with me, or you just think they should it's an overreaction, it's going to be a problem? I'd love to have this conversation with you. We have time. It's a Wednesday, and we're hanging out on the Rich Eisen Show, on Audience, on our radio affiliates, coast to coast, over 160 strong. We're on the Audience Network, as I said, and brlive.com, which we're excited about. That's how we're rolling here in a busy Wednesday edition of the Rich Eisen Show. Everybody's got a to-do list. Drop off the dry cleaning, pick up some milk. Here's an idea. Let's save hundreds of dollars on car insurance to that list. And the good thing is you don't have to drop off or pick up anything. All you have to do is go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes, you could be saving 15% or more on car insurance. Extra money in your pocket, of course. This may be the most rewarding you do today. It happens to the best of us. Right before a big deadline or just when you're printing handouts for a key presentation, the printer runs out of ink. Are you tired of frequent expense and hassle of replacing ink cartridges? With an internal ink storage tank, larger ink cartridges, and an intelligent page gauge that it displays ink levels, Brother Inkvestment tank printers can literally change the way you ink. Brother Inkvestment tank color inkjets all-in-one printers deliver ultra convenience along with a low cost per page and affordable upfront price. Enjoy uninterrupted printing with your choice of up to 1 or 2 years of ink, including in-box. Inkvestment tank helps to eliminate frequently buying and in replacing ink cartridges. Inkvestment tank printers can keep your business running while delivering super functionality for your business, including print, copy, scan, and fax. With Inkvestment tank, there's no sweating over your printer running out of ink. Just the features, convenience, reliability, and affordability you need. Learn more at changethewayouink.com and get ready to change the way you ink. Hey, did you see James Jones announce Jordy Nelson's retirement on Twitter? Did you see that?
Yeah, I didn't see that it was official. I saw that he was thinking about retiring.
Yeah, I mean, how about that? Well, we'll keep an eye on that throughout our show. Opening day's tomorrow, guys. Opening day of the baseball season.
Cannot wait.
It's so great. Oh, good. Thank you very much. And batting leadoff here in the Rich Eisen Show coverage of the 2019 season is the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Dave Roberts, back on the show. How are you, Skipper?
Hey, Rich, what's happening? How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Before we get to all of that, being obviously the baseball season and the Dodgers, there's a big, huge conversation in the sports world out of the NFL about change of instant replay. What's your stance on instant replay with baseball?
You know what? I think I'm a fan. I think that, the players, and speaking for people, obviously I've got a bias of, on the field, and I just want the call to be right. And I think that there are times where, it's kind of undecided or the call stands. But I think for the most part, these guys get it right with the replay. I don't think it takes as much time as people think. And for me, I think for the most part, I'd like to get the call right more than not. So I'm a fan.
Well, with baseball, obviously, when you're talking whether a ball's beaten someone to the bag or is a ball fair or foul or over the wall, I mean, it's usually a line involved. What's happening with the NFL is a judgment call. Would you want to see balls and strikes replayed, Dave?
No. I don't think I would like to see that. But I do think that, there's been talk about that electric strike zone and stuff like that, where obviously there's still a place for the home plate umpire. And I think for anyone, I think that, one side, the human element, I think is part of baseball, has always been. But again, the part of getting it right is kind of, for me, outweighs it a little bit. And I will say, though, is that when baseball players complain about it or want the electric strike zone, I think the hitters are going to have a rude awakening because there's going to be a lot more strikes called than balls that they think. So that's going to be something that's going to unfold here, I'm sure, in the next few years.
Yeah, you think so? Interesting. What do you mean by that? You think an electronic eye might be more?
So I think would favor more the pitcher. Yeah.
Why do you think that?
I think that there's balls that where the hollow of the knee, right below the kneecap, and above the belt, or the kind of where you take your stance, and right below the armpits, or however it's kind of the verbiage in the rule book. I do think that low ball that players think is down is a strike, and more for me, it's the north and south versus east and west. I think that the pitchers get a little bit more on the corners, but I think north and south, I think that with the electric strike zone, I think hitters would be shocked that the ball is called strikes.
Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's your favorite opening day memory, Dave?
I think for me, my first one with the Dodgers, that was 2002 Dodgers-Giants. I hit lead off that game. Kevin Brown, Livan Hernandez, Barry Bonds on the other side. We ended up getting our butts kicked. I think Barry hit 2 homers that day. But just to kind of be my first opening day start on the line, Dodgers-Giants, Felipe Alou was on the other side. Jim Tracy, my manager, it was a pretty special moment for me.
Yeah. What's your first opening day? What was your first one? Was that in '99, or was that you came up during the season?
So I came up in '99,
right.
And then my first one, I think, actually my first one, because I was kind of up and down for 3 years, and then my first full year was 2002. So that was my first one as well. Yeah.
Wow. So your first one with the Dodgers was your first one where you came out of spring training and you went there. Huh. What is your take coming into a season after having 2 long seasons finish short of the ultimate goal?
My take is it's a new season, and I think that there's a lot of excitement. Obviously, every team thinks they have a chance for the most part to win the World Series, but I think that it's been a very productive 3 years for me, and with this organization, with this club, and obviously we haven't won it all, but I see no reason why we won't put ourselves in that position again and get over the hump here this year.
And the clubhouse, I mean, obviously, did you feel you need to address like it's a new year, or what's your sense of that? That's why you're called a manager, not a coach.
No, for sure, Rich. I think that's a fair question, but no, I think that with the guys that we have, whether it's Clayton, JT, Kenley, David Freese, obviously is one of my favorites. I think the thing is that it's pretty much understood what we need to do, and I don't let our guys get too far ahead of the next day's game, and I think that's something that's really boring. But I think that it's something that works. It's a method and a formula that is not too much to overcome, to try to win that day. And that's what we try to do. We did kind of shuffle the deck a little bit when you bring in Russell Martin back. You bring in Joe Kelly, A.J. Pollock. So there's different guys. Corey Seager's back this year. So there's a little bit different, but the core is still intact, and it's going to be a fun team to watch this year. Very talented, focused group. Dave
Roberts, Dodgers manager here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about then again who is there. Clayton Kershaw not getting the start, but he is seemingly on the mend. What can you tell me about his readiness and when we expect to see him on the mound this year?
Yeah, I would say as we sit here today, I would say Clayton is a couple weeks away. For pitching for us. On Saturday here, we've got a 3-inning, we call it a simulated game, where he faces hitters, and he goes in the dugout 3 different times, pitches 3 innings, and so then we'll continue to build up from that. He's doing really well. A little bit behind as far as he's made so many consecutive opening day starts, but understanding that it's a long season and we just need him healthy, so he's coming back. He'll be fine. And Rich Hill is alongside him on the they call it the injured list now.
Yes,
Rich.
They do.
The injured list. I want to get my wording right. And he's probably a few days ahead of Clayton. So we get these guys come back soon.
And Buehler? What about Walker?
Walker is going to start the fourth day of the season. That Sunday against the Diamondbacks, and he's raring to go. You're going to see 97 to 99 on that Sunday, and he's locked and loaded.
Okay. Now, when you do a simulated game, are you doing just now the 2 minutes between innings now? I mean, you know those rules. They've sliced a few seconds off
right.
here, Dave.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So it's kind of trying to simulate the other side, offensive side. So, whether it's a 5, 7, 10-minute inning, and then we get them back out there. But I hear you.
No, I don't. You just want to make sure you're complying.
I appreciate
this is
that.
It. Pace of
We're trying to replicate as much as we can. You're right.
We call that simulated pace of play rules.
That's right.
So I don't know. I might be the only one to call them that. That might have been the royal we. What is it like having a shortstop coming back from Tommy John surgery with Corey Seager? That's a rarity, Dave.
It's like you talk about free agents and the guys that were kind of signed and traded and things like that. This is one of our big acquisitions. We didn't have Corey all year, and so to get him back, Rich, when you see him, he looks fantastic. He's healthy. He's moving well. To see him take the field, to see him in the batter's box, obviously I get excited. Our players get excited. Fans get excited. So we're considerably better when Corey's healthy. And early on, I'm going to run him out there 3 games and then give him blow and get him back in there. And so we're going to kind of manage that early, so then when we get in the middle of summer, we can kind of let him go.
And are the Dodgers done adding? I mean, there's so many guys. It's unbelievable in this day and age, the number of talented players who are still unsigned with opening day hitting. I don't recall an instance like that. Are the Dodgers done?
We're done. We're done. So, yeah, there's a lot of talented players out there, obviously. But I think that in-house, what we did in the winter, where we're at right now, I love our guys. I love our depth. And Andrew Friedman, our team president, does a very good job of kind of trying to put together a major league roster and prepare for the unknown, the unforeseen injuries and things like that. So to your question, yeah, we're ready to go. We're all set.
How close were you with Bryce Harper? I know you met with him in Vegas. So.
We met with him, and I think that only Bryce and Scott, his agent, could only tell you how close we were. I felt the thing went well, the meeting, with Bryce and his staff and his guys and his team and his wife and our guys over there. I'm happy we vetted the entire process, but ultimately he went where he wanted to go. So we wish him well, but again, we're in a good place.
Walk me through what a meeting like that looks like for fans. I mean, you meet at his house. Yeah. What are you over lunch? You get your spread. What do you got?
You fly in, and fortunately, we flew private on our owner's jet. Go kind of backdoor hotel, and it's almost like Ocean's 11. You kind of like figure like you got the back door into Vegas casino. And not that we're trying to take down a casino.
No. I understand.
You go there, and then you go up to the suite, and you're on 2 sides of a table, and you're kind of just chatting, and you're talking about the organization on the field part of it, the clubhouse, and contract part, and all that kind of stuff. And they're doing listening, they're talking expectations, and you kind of recess to regroup, and you kind of wait for the phone to ring the next morning. So for me, it was a long night. Had a few hours sleep and had to get ready to address the team the next morning at 8 a.m. in Arizona. So it was a good experience for me.
So then the electricity goes out and the money's gone is basically what you're saying.
That's right, exactly.
So, to use the Ocean's phrase right there. That's amazing.
That's right. I love that.
So I guess the phone didn't ring? Is that basically what happened? Or you...
The phone rang, and we got news that it wasn't going to happen. So again, we did a good job of kind of going through the process, which a guy like Bryce, you got to kind of see it through and see if there's a chance. Yep. And it didn't work out. So like I said, we wish him the best.
A couple more minutes left here with Dave Roberts. With Puig gone, who's the most likely player to lick a bat on your roster right now, Dave?
I would say Enrique Hernandez.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw that exhibition game last night, but he's known once in a while, Rich, to be a little eccentric, and he had some really tight, painted-on pants with the high socks, and so he's kind of quirky, loves the camera, the social media thing, so I could see him being the guy licking a bat.
All right, and how about snapping a bat over a thigh like it's a toothpick? Who's the most likely one?
Good one. Okay, snapping a bat over the thigh, I would say probably Russell Martin. I mean, he's
okay.
He's like built like a fire hydrant. He can snap, and he's strong enough to do it. So if Cody Bellinger tried to do it, he might snap his leg. So Russell could probably do it with that conviction and get it done.
I was going to go Muncie. Muncie's built like a fire hydrant too.
Muncie is, but I still would go Russell. I mean, that's Canadian in him. I think the Canadian hockey player. I got Russell.
And is Turner? Does he cut that thing at all? I mean, how does he show up to spring?
So trimmed it, cut no, trimmed it, groomed it. It's still for me out of control, but it suits him. Tighten up the hair.
Got it.
But he got on this dairy-free thing, so a lot of our guys are on this Chase Utley dairy-free thing. So
what?
JT, Corey, all these guys look fantastic.
What do you mean
now.
Dairy-free? What are you talking about?
They just kind of don't do dairy anymore. So whether it's the cheese, whether it's the cream and the coffee, whatever it is, there's just no dairy, and they've kind of all leaned out. It's a different type thing. I need to kind of take heat, I guess.
Well, you eliminated the Brewers, so you got the playoffs dairy-free last year, right? I mean,
there you go.
You know what I mean? Hey, Dave, always appreciate our chats. Have a great season or start of the season. We'll talk with you throughout it. Always enjoy having you on the program, and I appreciate you taking time before a big day.
All right, Rich, we'll be in touch. Take care.
You got it. It's Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager. Here on the show. They did make the playoffs dairy-free last year, did they not?
I believe so.
That's what they did, right?
Going for a third straight World Series appearance.
It's amazing, man. It's amazing. Third straight World Series appearance. So Seager's coming back from Tommy John surgery. Machado's down the road. That was interesting. I just thought they might move Seager, keep Machado, but didn't do that. Yeah. They went Oceans whatever on Harper. Didn't work out.
Oceans 9, I guess?
He went Oceans 9. I always wonder what those things look like. Do you remember because we're going to talk a lot about A-Rod in hour 3. Do you remember the conversation that A-Rod, when he was leaving, was it when he was leaving Seattle to go somewhere else? He wanted his own office in the stadium. Do you remember that? That was part of the negotiation.
Yeah.
And that was part of the reason why the Mets weren't going to go there.
They didn't have office space.
Well, I mean, it was Shea Stadium.
Right.
I told you about Shea Stadium.
Was
awful. One time, Susie and I did a piece together for ESPN. We interviewed the big three of the Braves and Bobby Cox in a room called the glaucoma testing room, where we had to spray Glade through an oscillating fan to get rid of the cat pee smell in there because there were cats loose in Shea Stadium. As Cubs fans know, there cats get loose in Shea Stadium in 1969. But I mean, yeah, man. It's just always interesting to me is that where do these meetings take place and how does it go down? And it couldn't be a bad fit for him as a team just to hear, right? I mean, Dave Roberts is a great manager. It's all about dollars and cents, right? It's not like
Bryce Harper fits anywhere.
How are you going to use me? Well, we're going to put you in right field. We're going to bat you third.
Cool.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks, your check will clear.
Right. So that's the whole thing. Like in football, though, I mean, it is like, what are you going to do for the offense?
Scheme.
What scheme and how secure is the offensive coordinator, right?
Right. Well, you got to fit him under the salary cap. Baseball, no cap.
Right.
1 through 9, throw them out
in
there.
In the NBA, how am I going to be used? How many minutes? Yep. In baseball, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you in the outfield, and we'll bat you third.
About 150 times throughout the summer.
So what's the analytics conversation about? Like, what's the conversation about? Getting to know each other.
Personality fit, I guess.
It's just right. You took Air Guggenheim back and forth, right? Dollars and cents, man. Keichel's out there. Kimbrel's out there. Opening day's tomorrow. Those guys must be freaking out.
It's really ridiculous.
They must be on the phone to their agents going, where am I going? And if they have kids, where do these kids going to school? Serious. I don't remember when was the last time opening day hit and players of that caliber were chilling at the crib. Guy with 50 saves, Cy Young candidate in Keuchel and Kimbrel. Who wants 50 saves? Anybody?
I mean, I'll take them because I don't know who's closing
I have been
for the Sox.
I have been told that bridge is blown up like it's over the River Kwai. That ain't happening.
With Alec Guinness.
But let's see if they blow 2 of the first 3 as the baseball puts the defending world champs on the road in Seattle to start. That I don't get. I just don't understand it. Was Fenway being used?
Disrespect.
Okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine. You
everybody
can wear that.
Is against us again.
Oh, God. Stop it. All right. Phone calls 844-204-RICH before Dean Blandino, former head of NFL refs, joins us to make heads or tails about what went down at yesterday's owners' meeting. In sports, a trade can make or break your team. A good one can mean a championship, but a bad one can set your franchise back for years, and it is no different when it comes to selling or trading in your car. You need to make good choices, and with TrueCar, you've got a star on your roster. Just go to TrueCar, simply enter your license plate number, and watch how your car's details pop up. Then answer a few questions. Got a sports package or a moonroof? Watch as they bump up your car's value in real time. High mileage? Well, you already knew that was going to cost you. But now you know how much it dings your wallet so you can strategize your next move. Once you're finished, you'll get a true cash offer sent in minutes. Then just bring your car into a local certified dealer and they'll check your car with you together. After that, you can cash out or trade in for a new ride. So when you're ready to experience a better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today. True cash offer not available in all states.
Podcast One's coverage of March Madness runs on Diesel.
All right, it's March, which means it's time for the madness. So you know we got it all covered on the big podcast with me, Shaq. The legendary, get him out the game, baby! Dick Vitale, how you doing, Coach?
Hey, Shaq, what's going on, man?
And we're way more than just sports, Shaquille. So be prepared to laugh as we bring you the best basketball coverage.
The big podcast with Shaq. Check us out with new episodes every Monday at podcastone.com.
Stay tuned for 60 seconds of AP News headlines right after this podcast.
I mean, it's like he's playing on a nursery.
He's everywhere.
Giannis, let's take it over to the runway. Great pass by Compton to Giannis for the alley-oop. It's in the books. The Milwaukee Bucks, 108-94.
That's Steve Smith, Isaiah Thomas, Dennis Scott on the Players Only on TNT last night. Giannis MVP, right? Everybody says it's Harden, right? How is Giannis not the MVP? Best team in the league.
They are.
They're about to clinch the entire conference. Already clinched the division. Mm-hmm. And how is he not? I know he's not as prolifically. He's not prolific scorer like Harden. This guy's the MVP. Averaging 27 and 12, 6 assists. It's an MVP. 56-win team. Come on.
I'm fine with either guy, to be honest. Whoever ends up winning, great.
I
They had
understand.
an amazing season.
But you can make an argument, I understand, for the other.
Yeah, you can make an argument for both. So I'm kind of good with either guy. Usually it's the best record in the league, best team in the league, and the best player has this type of season, they get the award.
Well, the only drama that's playing out right now, it's not as to who's making the playoffs, with the exception of a serious game of musical chairs at the bottom of the Eastern Conference right now. Playoffs, right? You've got the Heat, a half game behind the now rampaging Orlando Magic, whose executive vice president is coming in tomorrow. The very fun and funny Pat Williams, the SVP.
Yeah, they've won 6 in a row.
They've won 6 in a row right now to take the 8th and final playoff spot position, half game in front of the Heat, half game behind the Pistons, who suddenly lost 3 in a row, and a full game behind the Nets. So that's going to be a game of musical chairs. Who sits out of that? I mean, if the Charlotte Hornets come on a little bit stronger, they've won 4 in a row. They've got a shot at the 8th spot. The Celtics, can they get past the Pacers?
Hey, we clinched yesterday.
For a home playoff.
Gosh.
First round home playoff. Yeah, you clinched yesterday. Congratulations. They didn't need that flight that I took with my family, the 12-hour one.
No.
All they needed was a flight to Cleveland. Who knew? That's just
2
a flight to Cleveland. Everything's fine. Everything's better. And then the Nuggets have caught the Warriors atop the Western Conference. They have the same record. So let me ask you this. If you're the Spurs sitting there at 8.
Who do you want to play?
Yeah. Because, by the way, the Kings, a great season. They're 500, 37.
I know, they fell
They're
off.
out. They're 5.5 out. I mean, we know who's making the Western Conference playoffs right now. We know it. So there's no drama there.
Yeah, it's kind of just,
by the way,
the order.
The Nuggets were in that last game in, winner go home de facto final regular season game against the Minnesota Timberwolves last year. Remember that?
Yeah.
They've gone from that to maybe being the 1 seed in the West. Sending Golden State and Durant to Oklahoma City midway through a first round. How about that? I'm all in on Oklahoma City, Golden State, first round. I am all the way in on that.
That would be awesome.
For the rare instance of 2-7 being way more fascinating than 1-8. That's the way it's working. Rockets and the Clippers, they clinched last night. Doc Rivers, Clippers.
They've won 6 in a row.
Excuse me. They're 11-1 in March.
Were you calling for Doc Coach of the Year like months ago?
I did, didn't
I know. I kind of said you were crazy.
How is he not in this mix right now? I called Doc Rivers Coach of the Year like around December. I'm like, don't sleep on them, man. And now they trade. You can't say it enough.
I know, but
they
how
trade
is
away
it
their best player and they're better?
Yeah. But how is it not Michael Malone? How is it not the Nuggets head coach?
Or Budenholzer in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I understand. Fun stuff, but not much drama. It's fun just to look over the steering wheel here.
Hey, playoffs are coming. We're like a couple weeks away.
The Pacers are in Oklahoma City tonight. And then the Lakers are in Utah. That's the doubleheader on ESPN. Does LeBron play tonight?
Did you see LeBron throw up an air ball at the free throw line?
Oh, my gosh.
Also, everyone
won't play tonight.
Everyone going nuts about this Lance Stevenson crossover last night on Jeff Green.
Yeah, he tripped.
He stepped on his foot and made him fall over.
Exactly.
Like, everyone relax.
Golden State's at Memphis this evening, so they should be a half game in front of Denver by the end of the night. Dean Blandino is about to join us here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's our poll question today? Chris, what do you have over there?
All right, today's poll, big pop culture hoops anniversary.
Okay.
On this date, March 27th, 1992, White Man Can't Jump release.
Okay.
In theaters. Looking at the best basketball movie. What's the best basketball movie? We've got 4. Call in if we missed one, you disagree.
Oh, my God.
White Man Can't Jump, He Got Game, Hoosiers, Blue Chips. Best basketball movie.
Okay. You didn't include Uncle Drew. What about Joanna Man? You didn't include that?
Well, I thought about putting in Like Mike just because
the fish that saved Pittsburgh.
Just because you were in
Pittsburgh. Bernard King was in that movie.
Just because you were in Like Mike, but these are the
Like Mike's not a basketball movie. Like Mike's a shoe movie. I mean, let's be honest. Like Mike is about shoes. You didn't include Space Jam?
Space Jam should totally.
By the way,
it's a science fiction movie.
It doesn't matter because there's such
movie.
a runaway winner here. It's not even funny. Please. But you don't want me to put my thumb on the scale, so I won't.
All right, I'll add Space Jam.
Real quick, let's get to Joe in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Got a couple minutes for you, Joseph. First in, first up. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Rich. Thanks for taking the call. Long time.
Thanks, brother.
About the replay, I'm 66 years old. I've been watching football for a lot of years. The complaint about the game being so long and lengthening the game, what lengthens the game in my lifetime has been touchdown, 5 commercials. Extra point, 5 more commercials. Out of bounds, 5 commercials. I mean, let's get the calls right. If I can sit on my couch and I can see the play, then you have to get it right.
Correct.
That's the end of the story. There shouldn't be any argument. There's right and there's wrong. Get it right.
Joe, I absolutely agree with you. And, where everyone's so concerned about pace of play, and thank you for the call, Joe. Thanks and drive safe out there in AC. I do have to say, though, the NFL shortened the game commercially last year. They made some changes. There's, as you know, you don't see replay anymore being reviewed. They go to break, they show you a commercial on the right side of the screen, and then show you the game that's still going on the left side of the screen.
I like that.
Yeah.
They have picked up in terms of the commercial breaks. That said, get it right. Get it right. Period. That said, too, I want to see what the last 2 minutes looks like. I don't want it to be play, review, play, review, play, review. That I don't want to see. Nobody wants to see it. So the question is what directive will be given to the review team that's looking at stuff in the last 2 minutes? The man who might know the answer to that, or should, is Dean Blandino, and that's next in hour 2.
March Madness is upon us, and Dan Patrick has you covered.
I probably wouldn't do the hat because I don't want to mess up the hair.
Join Dan and the Danettes as they keep up with every twist and turn in the NCAA tournament on the Dan Patrick Show. Every day, hear the hottest takes and the biggest celebrity interviews from the world of sports and entertainment.
It's as cocky and confident as Baker Mayfield is.
Don't miss the madness on the Dan Patrick Show, right here on Podcast One.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. President Trump is telling Fox News Channel Sean Hannity the now completed Russia investigation was a cloud.
It was a cloud. It was a cloud that most people didn't believe, fortunately.
The investigation found no evidence the Trump campaign conspired with Russia to influence the election. President Trump calls the investigation an attempted takeover.
If we had done this to President Obama, you'd have 100 people in jail right now, and it would be treason.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler says the Attorney General has told him the yet-to-be-released Mueller report is fewer than 1,000 pages long. WOW Air, which flies from airports in the U.S. and Europe, has abruptly gone out of business, stranding passengers on 2 continents. A single ticket sold in a Milwaukee suburb matched all 6 numbers in the Powerball drawing, $768 million. And Wayne Messam, the mayor of Miramar, Florida, is joining the crowded race for the Democratic presidential nomination. I'm Rita Foley.